Hi everyone, I'm Danny from Science Centre Singapore and welcome to STEM Together, where we facilitate conversations involving industry professionals on everyday matters involving STEM. Now today I'm joined by Dr. Stephen Tay, a senior lecturer at the Department of the Built Environment in the College of Design and Engineering at the National University of Singapore. Now, he is also an adjunct researcher at the Solar Energy Research Institute of Singapore. Dr. Stephen, welcome to STEM Together. How are you?
Very good, thank you. And thank you very much, Danny, for inviting me, to really share what I know about the field to listeners out there.
Great. Well, thanks so much for accepting the invitation. I'm really pleased to have you on this episode on a topic which I believe energizes, electrifies, and empowers you. A topic none other than, I'm sure you know, solar energy. How do you define solar energy?
The term generally indicates a source of energy that, as the name implies, that it can be replenished, or in other words, renewable.
What got you and keeps you interested actually in this topic, just out of curiosity?
So this brings me, back in time when I was an undergrad student. And back then, this was way before, we see solar panels deployed on HDB rooftops and so on. Okay, so I really liked the idea, back then as an undergrad, that we can somehow tap upon the huge amount of energy, that we receive from the sun. And it's not just the huge potential that we have, within the sun, but it's also renewable. And who doesn't like things that are free? And that really motivated me. So how huge is the potential that lies within the sun? So I did a back of the envelope calculation. Wow. And I realized that 1 hour of sunshine in Singapore is equivalent to about 31 years of chicken rice for everyone in Singapore. So one way we can think about it is energy can be measured in joules or kilowatt hours, and calories. Chicken rice, they do have an energy equivalent as well. So if you recall, the Health Promotion Board will always say, this bowl of laksa, this bowl of nasi lemak has so many calories. Yes. So I thought it's easier if we can visualize the huge potential that lies within the sun with something that's relatable, because early on you did point out a very important point, and that is it's quite hard to visualize terms like gigawatt-peak, which is actually power, or kilowatt-hour or megawatt-hour. But when you talk about how many plates of chicken rice, I think that makes things much easier.
Making me hungry already.
Oh, I'm so sorry for that.
It's all good, actually. It's a good thing. All right, what are the latest findings and the trends on solar energy?
So there's actually several, and there are numerous in various fields. So for example, there are research efforts involving engineering non-toxic materials, for example, materials that are environmentally friendly and at the same time are abundant in the Earth's crust. So that's one area. Okay, there's also other areas like, for example, the integration of solar modules into vehicles, otherwise known as VIPV, or Vehicle Integrated Photovoltaics. Okay, so that's quite an exciting area as well that some research communities are looking into.
All right. So besides cost, do you think there are any other concerns that the public might have with regard to using something that harnesses solar energy?
One other concern that I've heard of is the fact that, it's only available in the day. Let's say you have an abundance of electricity generation in the day. You store some of it in batteries, and this stored energy can then be used during the night, thereby mitigating the problem by which some people are concerned that we can't use solar energy at night.
What are some of the limitations, though, of the current technologies that harness solar energy?
So one limitation would be it's quite weather dependent. As I've maybe shed some light when I talk about the dependence on the sun in the earlier question. The other thing that I did not mention is rain. So sometimes we do get rain, and quite a few in these past few days. So when the rain comes, that's when the sun is blocked from having a direct so-called exposure to the panel. So this is one way or one limitation that some so-called may propose to this technology. But however, there are strategies to mitigate this actually. So for example, when we talk about a country like Singapore, one way to mitigate this is to have a widespread deployment so that, for example, when you have a rain cloud coming from the east, your panels on the west is still generating.
Yes.
And then when the rain cloud moves towards the west, then that's where the panels on the east will be generating to compensate for that loss. So when we have widespread deployment of solar panels, the weathering effects are somehow reduced.
That's a really interesting point that you brought up in terms of the distribution of solar installation. And I think from what I can see, from what I've researched, I think the West, has the largest concentration of that. But there's also representation in the North, Northeast, East, and Central areas of Singapore as well. So I think what you said is interesting, and it works well for our island state, which experiences quite erratic weather, but weather at the same time is different from one part of Singapore to another. So as you rightly mentioned, with a good distribution of solar installations, I think we were still able to capture a significant amount of energy from the sun, I think, even as the cloud cover changes and the weather patterns change.
Right.
How can students commit to a lifestyle that supports the cause for solar energy?
Like, for example, I know of people who subscribe to metal straws. They are more expensive, but they see the value in subscribing to such so-called initiatives, the use of environmentally friendly packaging, the use of metal straws, and so on. So they are willing to pay a certain premium to avoid carbon emissions.
Are there any options for students? Okay, so they're aware of it, but now they really want to deep dive and perhaps, I don't know, even value add to this whole landscape of solar energy. So are there options for them to explore this at the varsity levels?
So the field of solar energy is very diverse, and one of the misconceptions that I've encountered when talking to students is students have this thinking that, oh, I need to be good in math, physics, and basically the sciences or STEM subjects to be able to contribute meaningfully to this area. That is not entirely true, because we often forget that beyond the obvious engineers and scientists in these areas, there are also financiers who calculate the feasibility of a solar project. But there are also project managers who take charge and manage the installation. There are also lawyers who specialize in power purchase agreements, and marketing specialists who markets and increase awareness of this installation. So for students to really pursue in something that you are passionate in, because it is passion that will see you through the rainy days and remind you that behind the rain, the sun is always shining.
Nice one. Okay, touche. All right, thank you for that, Dr. Stephen, for your precious insights. I think it's been really great having you on STEM Together. I think thanks to you, I have a better understanding of solar energy based on how you framed it with us today. For viewers, to extend this learning further, I just want to share with all of you that Science Centre Singapore has recently launched a new exhibition titled Energy Story in partnership with the Energy Market Authority and Singapore Power Group. Now, the Energy Story exhibition, which is situated in Hall B of the Science Centre, it captures the story of how we have progressed off the back of energy discovery and are working towards a cleaner, more sustainable future. So come check it out at the Science Centre, all the 6 interactive zones within it. Solar power is definitely one of the exhibition highlights, but you can also learn about the sources, transformation, and uses of energy from natural cycles to modern applications. So with that, viewers, if you're watching this STEM Together series on YouTube, please hit that notification bell to subscribe. Or if you're viewing the series on Facebook, click follow. Now remember, like and share this video with your friends. Stay tuned for our next conversation. This is Danny with my very special guest, Dr. Stephen Tay, signing out. Bye-bye.
Bye.